Please adhere to YouTube's selected guidelines before viewing the content of this video. I do not encourage or condone any products, actions, or behaviors shown in this video. All videos are produced in a safe, professional, and controlled environment. Please do not attempt to replicate any actions performed during the video. All actions are performed by professionals. Alright, so today I'm going to be drinking a Gin and Yuzu Soda for the first time. Now, this might seem like an odd pairing at a glance, but what I have with me today as far as my gin goes is the Suntory Roku gin from Japan, which is flavored with much more stuff than just juniper berries and standard gin botanicals, as this gin right here is also flavored with 6 uniquely Japanese botanicals as well, which includes Yuzu Peel. And due to that, this gin definitely does have a more distinct flavor of yuzu than not. And having drank this gin before, and having thought about what might pair well with it over the last couple days since I tried it for the very first time, I came to the simple conclusion that maybe a yuzu soda would be a pretty good mixer with it. As such, well, I have a yuzu soda with me today, and I'm going to be drinking a Gin and Yuzu Soda for the very first time. As far as my mixer goes, what I have with me today is the Fever Tree Sparkling Lime and Yuzu Mixer. Fever Tree is a pretty notable brand of mixers, and they're considered to be quite high quality, and so I'm hoping for this one to be quite high quality as well. As far as the serving size go, the serving size is 1 bottle. There's 30 calories in this bottle, and there is 30 milligrams of sodium and 8 grams of total carbohydrates, which includes 8 grams of added sugars, making this a little bit of a soda right here, not too overly sugary by any means. Now, I've never actually had one of these mixers before, so I don't know how it's actually going to be, not only with gin, but just in general as well. But I am hoping that it has a little bit of sweetness, but not too much. There is one thing that I think could go wrong with this whole experience, though, and that's that I might make a drink that is just way too yuzu-ish. I might make a drink that just has way too much of a yuzu flavor. Of course, the Roku gin already tastes a lot like yuzu. This, I assume as well, is going to taste a lot like yuzu too. So I am a little bit afraid that there might be too much yuzu, but there's only one way to find out, and that is to go ahead and pour myself a drink. As such, let's go ahead and get right to it after I grab myself a little bit of a thumbnail for today's video. I do think gotta grab myself a little bit of a thumbnail. Of course, of course. Ooh. Well, hopefully one of those will do as a thumbnail. We will find out. Without further ado, let's go ahead and I think pour my gin into my glass I have right here first. And then after that, let's go ahead and just top it all off with the chilled yuzu soda that I have with me today. This was in the fridge for a couple hours before starting this video, so it's a little bit colder than not. I don't have any ice with me today. I realize I should probably have ice, but I don't have any ice with me today. How much gin do I want to use? Smells great. I think I'm going to go up to, probably try to do right around there on my finger. I don't want to do too much gin. I also don't want to do too little. Let's be careful with it. I'm thinking that looks like a good amount of gin to me. That's probably like around about a shot's worth, if not just under a shot. So I'm thinking that should work for what I want today. Now, I do only have one of these today, so I need to make sure I drink my drink to the fullest extent and enjoy my singular mixer I have with me today to the fullest extent, because having only one of these is a bit of an issue because these only contain 6.8 fluid ounces, 200 milliliters. So I'm thinking I'll have literally only enough for one mixer, or for one mixed drink. So I gotta make sure I, what's the right way of putting it? I gotta make sure I get my money's worth, for one, and two, I gotta make sure I talk about everything to the fullest extent because I don't have a second chance, I guess is honestly another way of putting it. Well, no more dilly-dallying. Let's go ahead and get the cap all off of this beverage. I'm going to give it a little bit of a smell in just a moment after I go ahead and pick up the cap. Just like that. And let's smell this real quick. Ooh, nice, sweet yuzu smell. Honestly, somehow the yuzu is a lot more mild than from the gin itself, which is very interesting. A little bit of lime as well. Well, let's go ahead and pour it in real quick. just like that. I'm just gonna top it all off with the entirety of this mixer. That's my plan. There we go. I maybe could have gone with a little bit more gin, but I think we are all good. And let's go ahead and just give this a little bit of a smell real quick. Overall, I would definitely have to say the predominant smell is that of the Fever Tree mixed drink, the Fever Tree lime and yuzu. However, just a little bit of the Roku gin is also coming through as well. Now, Fever Tree advertised themselves as being 3/4 of your alcoholic beverage. I think I did a little bit more than 3/4 Fever Tree today, so I might have done a little bit too much mixer, but I mean, like, hey, we ball, you know what I'm saying, we ball. Do suppose, without further ado, I should probably go ahead and take a sip of this drink for the very first time. Smells great, and I do suppose, without further ado, I should probably go ahead and find out just how a gin and yuzu soda actually is. How will it be? What will I think of it? Hope it's going to be good. Let's find out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? Ooh. 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 That's pretty nice. I think I could have used a little bit more gin. I think I could put a little bit more gin in it, but honestly, the amount I used is perfectly fine. It's not overwhelming, but you can still taste it just a little bit, but maybe not, excuse me, I'm getting words all jumbled up. Maybe not quite enough to the point that I personally want. I definitely do think I could use, personally, a little bit more gin in the flavor. However, yeah, this is pretty nice as a whole. This is pretty good. Yeah. I definitely have to say, with ice in like a tall highball glass, and maybe with a little bit of actual lime juice, I think this would be better. But it's still very solid. Still very solid as a whole, and I am overall definitely, no joke, without a doubt, thoroughly enjoying this little bit of a beverage. Taste-wise, I'd have to say the majority of the taste is coming from the Fever Tree Sparkling Lime and Yuzu, which very much is a soda, but at the same time is not your classical soda. It doesn't have an extreme amount of sugar in it, as mentioned a little bit earlier on, and the flavor itself as well, while there certainly is sweetness to it, a lot of the sweetness coming from my actual mixed drink, I really do kind of feel like is coming from the gin itself, as the Roku gin definitely has a good amount of sweetness to it. I really do feel like the Sparkling Lime and Yuzu mixer from Fever Tree, I really do feel like it's a little bit more savory than not. Like, there's definitely sugar in it, but I feel like part of the sugar, or part of the sugar in my drink, is not actually coming from the sugar in the mixer, it's actually coming from the sugar in the gin. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. So this definitely comes across, in my opinion, this beverage definitely comes across, in my opinion, as being that of a sweet yet slightly sour. Bug on the side of my neck. Don't want no bugs on the side of my neck. I don't know what's making that noise. I assume a frog or a toad or something like that. Maybe there's a squirrel under the porch I'm sitting on. I have no idea. But something's making that noise, and I was hearing that noise from inside. Yeah, I don't know what animal makes that noise. I have no idea. But where was I, though? Where was I? I was talking about how this drink itself, while there's definitely a good amount of sweetness to it, I certainly do not feel like the entirety of the sweetness is coming from the mixer. Like, with a lot of, like, let's say, like an Everclear and Coke, or like, let's say, a bourbon and Coke, I really do think is probably a better answer, or a better example for, I'm already getting buzzed. How am I already getting buzzed? How am I already getting, I've had half a drink. How am I already getting buzzed? I think I need another sip. No complaints on my behalf. It's real. I really like this. The more I drink it, the more I'm like, man, this is pretty dang solid. But the way the flavor comes across, it's less so like, let's say, a rum and coke, where the sweetness of the rum kind of complements the sweetness of the Coca-Cola, but the Coca-Cola still very much overwhelms the sweetness of the rum. And you could say the same thing about a whiskey and Coke, a bourbon and Coke, a bourbon and Dr. Pepper, and stuff like that kind of thing. And like, let's say with a vodka Sprite, for example, there's really no sweetness coming from the vodka. And all of the sweetness is coming from the Sprite. But with this, on the other hand, I really do feel like a fair amount of the sweetness coming into my beverage is not coming from this right here. Maybe it would have been a good idea to take a small sip of this before I actually made my mixed drink, because then it would have given me a better idea of what the sweetness in the original drink is actually like. But I really do feel like some of the sweetness, a good amount of the sweetness, I don't want to give it a percentage, but like less than 50%, but definitely more than 25%. I know I just said I don't want to give it a percentage, but I'm gonna go for like a solid 32% of the sweetness from my drink tastes like it's coming from the Roku gin, in all honesty. Like, a good amount of the sweetness of my beverage really does taste like it's coming from the gin. And overall, it's not too heavy on the yuzu by any means. The mixer, I would have to say, while it is technically sparkling lime and yuzu, and there is that yuzu flavor in the mixer, it's very mild as a whole. It's a very mild yuzu, and the yuzu from the Roku gin, in my opinion, is a little bit more predominant. It's a little bit more prominent. And I would actually have to say that the main flavor of yuzu from this mixed drink isn't just the mixer, it isn't just the gin. It's really the 50-50 combination of both of them, in my opinion. And honestly, I really do think I could have gone with a little bit more gin, because this mixed drink has absolutely just smoothed out any roughness I would have been getting from the gin. I'm not getting any sort of like a really alcohol-ish taste in the back of my throat or anywhere kind of thing. And overall, I'm just enjoying this mixed drink. Yeah, no, this is very solid. Yeah. My mixer has kind of warmed up since I've been outside, I will acknowledge. In the couple minutes since I poured my drink, my mixer has warmed up, and my drink as a whole has warmed up just a little bit. It's about 90 degrees out here right now. It's a little bit warm. And my drink was not in the refrigerator for too long before the video. A couple hours, but it's not quite long enough to get it fully cold, fully chilled. But even with that fact of the matter, this beverage is still fantastic. And I really do think with some like lime juice or like a lime wedge that you like squeeze and then throw in there, a little bit of like some ice cubes kind of thing, a Roku gin and Fever Tree Yuzu lime soda, honestly, gonna be a great summer drink, frankly put. I think with some minor altercations, this will be possibly, honestly, one of my favorite summer drinks. And I say that because, one, I really like the flavor. And I say that also because, two, the Fever Tree mixer does not have an extreme amount of sugar in it. I think I could do a solid shot and a half per yuzu, lime, and, or sorry, I'm getting my words. I'm buzzed. How am I this buzzed already? I haven't even, like, drank the entirety of my first drink. I am definitely getting buzzed, though. What was I saying? Yeah, I think I could do like a solid shot and a half of Roku gin per Fever Tree lime and yuzu. Have like 2 of those for 3 shots total, and I'm only at 16 grams of sugar, kind of thing. That's significantly less than you would get from an equivalent, probably like gin and Sprite. Haven't had gin and Sprite, need to try that too. But for the lack of sugar, but the prominence of taste and prominence of smoothness, this is really pleasant. And I really do think that with some ice cubes and with a little bit of a lime wedge squeezed into the drink, this is going to be really solid. This is going to be a very solid beverage, I do think. So, yeah, I think I will absolutely be having this again. I will totally be having this again. Probably not like insanely often. I think this is definitely going to be a specific summer drink for me. And even then, I don't know if I'm going to be having it very often because these are kind of pricey. It's like $5.99 for a 4-pack in my local area. But really good beverage. Just completely smooths out the gin. The sweetness coming from it is both coming from the gin and the mixer. And while I wouldn't say you can taste the gin as easily as you can taste, while I wouldn't say you can taste the intricacies of the gin as easily as you can when you're drinking it straight, of course, the lime and yuzu mixed drink doesn't get rid of all of it. There's still some of those intricacies. Like, I can definitely still taste a little bit of the other elements of the Roku gin kind of thing. The yuzu is definitely the most prominent, as it is when you're drinking it straight, but some of that sort of juniper is still in there, just a little bit kind of thing, and just the other flavors, the other botanicals put into it, very much still there to an extent as well. Yeah, no, very solid. This has been a very interesting experiment to do today. Now, I'm almost at the bottom of my drink. I've been taking it very slowly because I only have one drink with me today. I'm going to take like half of this, take a sip, try to describe the flavor fully of this mixed drink. And then after that, I'm going to have the rest of it and give you guys my final thoughts on it. So I would say the flavor itself is very much that of a citrus, sweet and sour, and very slight spicy, yuzu, orangina taste. Like, there's definitely like that orangina sort of flavor going on in there kind of thing. Orangina is like a type of orange soda that is not super commonly found in the United States, but it's a fantastic orange soda. One of my absolute favorites. I love orangina. I think a gin and orangina would be really good as well. I need to find some orangina. I don't even know where they sell it these days, but it's super good stuff. But flavor-wise, yeah, I'm getting that citrus, sweet, sour, slightly spicy, yuzu sort of flavor with a little bit of a sort of an orangina, sort of like blood orange flavor in the background kind of thing. Then under that, I'm getting, I would have to say, a little bit of the botanicals from the gin. I would have to say I'm getting a little bit of that juniper, a little bit of like the tea botanicals that are in the Roku gin as well. And I'm getting, just the slightest bit of a floral taste as well. And I would have to say, equivalently with what I just described, I'm also getting that of a lime flavor as well, like a nice, sweet, sort of sugary, almost like soda-like lime flavor as well. So overall, I would have to say the flavor is that of a, citrus, sweet, sour, slightly spicy, yuzu peel, blood orange, orangina-like flavor with an undertone of, like, the gin botanicals, a little bit of juniper, a little bit of tea, a little bit of floral, with equivalently, a little bit of a sweet lime sort of flavor. And that's very much the flavor I'm getting from this beverage. Overall, really good. Really, really, really good. I definitely do think I could have added a little bit more gin, and I could definitely go for a second beverage, if I had a second beverage, which I do not. But this has been a fantastic experience. I've really enjoyed this experience, and I think I can definitely say for sure, Gin and Yuzu Sodas are going to be making a comeback for me in the future. I am absolutely going to be doing this again. I thoroughly enjoyed this experience. I want to have more of these mixed drinks, and I can absolutely see myself having more of these mixed drinks on warmer days like today. It's, as said, about like 90 degrees out here right now. It's a bit warm. And I think with some ice and some like fresh lime juice and a little bit of garnish kind of thing, like with a little bit of a lime slice, I think this is gonna be like perfect. Like what I made today, this is the prototype. But I think after perfecting this drink, it's going to be the perfect summer drink. Yeah. With a little bit of change, with just a few changes, I think this is going to be fantastic. What are my final thoughts? On the Gin and Yuzu Soda. Do I like this drink? Yeah, I do. I really like this drink. This is really good. The gin, the Roku gin and Fever Tree lime and yuzu is really good. Fantastic. Thoroughly enjoyable. Definitely a drink I would have again. Definitely a drink that I really enjoyed having today. And while what I had today, I don't think should be the final product, it was still nonetheless extremely good. And this is something that I said I would totally have again. Like, I really like this drink. This is really good. It's not too sweet, not too sour, not too bitter, not too spicy. It's not too much of anything. It's not too much of anything. It's just right. And I really like that. It's not too sweet. Like, definitely some drinks like a bourbon and Dr. Pepper, I really enjoy them. But they can be way too sweet when drank throughout a night of drinking kind of thing. If I wanted to have a drink and I wanted to have like 5 drinks on my porch, I'd probably start off with like a whiskey highball and then move on to a whiskey and Dr. Pepper or a whiskey and Coke or something like that after that, just simply because 5 like whiskey Cokes are going to be like way too much for me in the sugar realm of things. On the other hand, with this mixer, it's only got 8 grams of sugar per 200 milliliters. That's 16 per 400, or 24 per, 8 times 2 is 16, plus 8 is 24, or 24 plus per 600 milliliters, which is less than half what an equivalent like name brand Sprite or Coca-Cola would be more than likely. Yeah, I really like this, not only because of the taste, but also because of the not exorbitant amount of sugar in it. Really, the only thing dissuading me from this beverage is just the fact that the Fever Tree Yuzu Soda is a bit pricey. They're a bit expensive, but I mean, like, hey, if it's a good drink, can I really complain? I can complain about the price just a little bit. If the best cocktail in the world costs $500, I will still complain about the price. Thankfully, though, this is not a $500 drink. It's just a little bit more expensive than a gin and Sprite, I figure, at least, kind of thing, because Sprite's probably a little bit cheaper than this Fever Tree mixer I've got with me today. Really solid, though. Really enjoyable. Really, as said, the only thing that I maybe even dislike about this beverage is just the price incurred by enjoying it. Just because the Fever Tree is a bit expensive. That's the only issue I have with this. The only issue I have with this. As I drank it today, I think this mixed drink deserves a very solid 7.5, 8 out of 10. As I had it today, I think a 7.5, 8 out of 10 is very deserving for this beverage. When perfected, with ice, with a little bit of lime, I think this is going to be a 10 out of 10. Don't know. I'll have to perfect it in the future. But I think when perfected, this is going to be a 10 out of 10. That's just kind of my take, I will acknowledge. And I am definitely going to be having to try to perfect this drink in the future. And maybe I'll have to come back and make another video on a gin and yuzu sometime eventually. Yeah. No complaints on my behalf in general, and I've thoroughly enjoyed this experience today. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have tried this mixed drink before. Have you guys tried a gin and yuzu before? A gin and yuzu soda before? Let me know in the comments down below if you guys enjoyed it or not, and if you guys have tried it before or not, or if this drink just simply sounds interesting to you, if you guys haven't tried it or not. And of course, thank you so much for watching this video today. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video. If you guys have, like, subscribe, of course. Make sure to check out my new poetry book, Poems to Read While Smoking Cigarettes, linked in the description and comments down below. Go check it out. Appreciate y'all watching today's video, and until the next one, stay safe in peace and have a great one.